help people get prepared. I noticed that in 2020, when we had the pandemic, I was out there helping a lot of people because of layoffs and furloughs and people got fired and all of that. After talking to so many people that are our age, 50 years and above, I found that a lot of professionals weren't taking care of their careers. And what I mean by that is resumes had to be dusted off, right? LinkedIn passwords, couldn't remember the password, didn't have a LinkedIn profile, or never went out there in the first place, didn't know anything about the platform. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? Because the pandemic made all of us kind of pause and prepare. Pause and prepare. And this is something we're not accustomed to doing, right? Yes, 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 yes. We just kind of go along. And I know for a few of us, even as we rolled into 2024, we kind of just, it was just another day. A lot of us didn't even pause to roll into 2024. I'm guessing it's because, and I talked to the community about this as well. I'm guessing it's because we're so accustomed to just going about our lives routinely, kind of normally, right? And I know that for me, I am called to help to get us prepared. And even inside of our community, we talk all the time, right, y'all? We talk about being prepared, equipping ourselves, having a career toolkit. So if something pops off, we can just go in our toolkit and we can get it. If we need something, we just reach in there and get it. So what today is about is sharing with you some insights, some trends, and also some red flags, some things to look out for. And I have a ton of stuff, but I can only put so much right into a presentation. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to walk away with something you didn't know about and something that will, tap into your awareness, and maybe you would consider being prepared. Now, with our careers, is something that we tend to throw to the wayside. Again, it's just something that we just have, we just do, we just go to, we just get a title. And for so many years and decades, we kind of fit into this system of going to work. We fit into the job description, we tailor our resumes to fit when we apply online, and we don't really think about creating our careers or creating the life that we want. And as we all know, we are at work more than we are at home, right? And so if we're going to spend that time at our age, that's what we kind of looking at the time. And we're thinking about our future, we think about retirement, we're thinking about funding our future. How many of you have thought about retirement? Yes, yes, yes. How many of you are thinking about it right now? How many of you are saying, well, I'm not even sure if I have enough savings to last, because we are living longer. We talk about that in our community as well. Now, let me just say again, if you're new to me, my name is Kelly Jackson. I've been in talent acquisition for 3 decades, 30 long years. And I did that. A lot of people on here I've worked with as well. And the majority of my career was in consulting. So I would go to different corporations, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, and I would do consulting work as a recruiter. Then I did take some full-time roles where I was able to go into management and leadership as well. And also, as I thought back, even during 2020, I thought about all the people, thousands upon thousands of people that I interacted with. And those that were around my age, they didn't have what a lot of the younger generation had, meaning they had been doing their careers, right? Doing their careers for so long that it just became routine. Okay, I'm going to apply, and then I'm going to go to the interview, and then they're going to say the range, and then I'm going to say, and I'm going to do the work. Never really thinking about, is this something I could create for myself? And I know a lot of us here often, I'm overqualified. What does that even mean? Can I just be qualified? Why I got to be overqualified? I put my time in. How many of you heard of that? You overqualified. Can somebody give me the definition of that? Can we just be qualified at 50? We put our time in, right? Y'all with me? We put our time in. And so I wanted to talk today. I wanted to ensure that we stay prepared in 2024. There's a lot happening in 2024. This is an inflection point for a lot of different things. I'm going to talk about a few of those things, but some of you are interested in pivoting or transitioning this year. You've been thinking about it, and you're like, you know what? this might be the year. This might be your sign. You may have seen this come across your LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or wherever you saw this and say, you know what? Let me just see who this woman is. Let me see what she's talking about. Some of you just popping in just to look, but some of you are really ready to make that pivot or that transition. One of the things that I did in 2020 when I started working with people, and I did it for free every Saturday, 11 a.m. T's in here. She can tell you she's one of the OGs. I just did it just to help people. And again, I collected all this data, working in corporate, working with professionals during COVID and working in all this data. And when it came to us, and when I say us, you'll hear me say that throughout the presentation, I'm talking about 50 years of age and older. We just, for some reason, I'm going to step out on a limb and say maybe took it for granted, or maybe just kind of let it be and never really thought about, remember how excited we were when we started our jobs and all of that? And we just kind of let it, fall to the wayside. We are not human doings. We are human beings. So we should be all that we can be. And what I find is that we just do. We do the work. We do the work. We do the work. We do what we're told. We do what we're told. We do what we're told, right? I want to try to change that perspective today. And my hope and my prayer is that you walk away with something that will benefit you and that's of value and that is useful for you. I'll share with you that from the pandemic, I created my business. It was Careers by Kelly. We rebranded this year to Expert Edge. And I love that name because it describes us. There's that word again, us. Experts with an edge. Our edge is that gray hair means something. I got a ton of it. Y'all see it? I know y'all do too. So don't talk about me. That's our crown. That shows we've been around. We got wisdom. And those that look at us and judge us and say that we're overqualified or discriminate against us because of our age, they don't know the price we paid to be here and the knowledge that we have and how we can leverage our expertise and our skills and our experience and our knowledge. And some of us have gotten beat up so bad that we feel like we're rejects. And it's not personal, it's just business. And I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to know that you have a lot of wisdom and knowledge to share. And one of the things we do inside of Expert Edge is we help you to communicate that value that you have, because sometimes it doesn't translate into results for business owners because they have a business to run. Organizations have a company to run. They got to run their business, right? So they have to see that you're able to contribute at a high value when they bring you on. Or if you're working currently, the leadership team or who you're working for now, they need to see your contributions to the team, to them, to the organization. But if you're not able to communicate that value, they can't see it. They can't envision you in that role if it's a promotion, or giving you that spot bonus or that developmental bonus. Or if you're seeking external opportunities, those hiring managers and stakeholders and recruiters, they have to see the value, whether it's on paper, and that's something that we do. We help you to document your value. And some of us have decades of experience like myself, and we put it on 2 and 3 and 4 or 5 pages, and you're not gonna read all that. So you have to know how to structure and how to frame your value on paper, on your LinkedIn profile, on a portfolio, in a portfolio or website or cover letter. And we do all that. We help you to find market demand. There should be demand for what you do. You don't want to take it like you're looking and throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? When you're looking for external opportunities, you want to go for the opportunities that's going to be around. We all heard about AI. So we help to ensure that there's market demand for what you do, as well as having a digital presence. We're global now. We have to stop thinking locally. Somebody in China could see your LinkedIn profile and say, you know what? I need a project manager, and they've worked in retail before, and they've worked on different locations. Let me see if I can hire them for 8 months to help me. But some of us are still thinking locally. The fourth and final thing we do is we deploy all of that information to ensure you get interviews. Now, for some of you, as I mentioned earlier, this is something you're interested in 2024. If that's you, I invite you to schedule some time with me and we can talk about that and come up with a strategic career plan so we can map out that plan for you. Because some of you haven't thought about that because you're rolled into 2024. So let's go into our event today. Let's go into the presentation. I'm going to add it to the stage. Here's what I want you to do, okay? We're going to talk about some things, and I want you to open up your mind. And remember, I talked about changing your perspective because we're accustomed to doing things a certain way, and the world is not changing. It has changed. And if we don't get on board, for a lot of us, we're already behind the 8 ball. We'll wrap this up at the end and we'll talk about it more. But I want you to just open your mind, because I found that for us, we're set in our ways. We don't want to change. And we're going about life routinely when a lot has changed and we're not aware of that. All right, let's go ahead, and I'm sharing my screen. I'll make this bigger, hopefully. Let me see, can y'all see that? Okay, let's go. Here we go. So let's talk about the shift. Let's talk about the shift. The first thing we're going to talk about is, like I mentioned, the mindset. Now, we all are familiar with, drop in the chat, which one are you when it comes to growth mindset and a fixed mindset? We've heard the fix is bad and growth is good, right? We've heard that having a growth mindset means that, well, let me start with fixed mindset means, just like I said, we're set in our ways. We don't want to change. We're accustomed to doing things a certain way. How many of you have been at work and you had an idea or a new concept or a new process that you wanted to share, and people said, well, this is how we've always done it? How many of the comments have had that said to you before? Or you've tried to help with something and people don't want to change at work, or you shared something with your leadership team and they weren't listening. That's a fixed mindset. Some of the traditional companies that I've worked for, some of the more conservative companies that I've worked for, before remote work was a thing, it was like had to go through approval levels before we can get people to telecommute, because we were trying to bring candidates in and everybody wanted to work remote. But they were so accustomed to doing things a certain way, they had that fixed mindset. And then the growth mindset was, you know what, I'm open to learning. I'm open to change. I'm adaptable. But I want to introduce to you a new mindset. And I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. This is something by April Wren, who created or brought to the forefront what's called the flux mindset. Now, I introduced this to our community a few weeks ago. We're not going to run through 8 of these, but I'm going to let April describe what this means. Take a listen.
Valued, and they stay. We know.
Let me get to the point here.
A growth mindset doesn't really address how we deal with constant, relentless change and uncertainty. That is where a flux mindset comes in. The first superpower suffuses everything we're going to talk about today. It's trust. It is the collective superpower we can learn together. Netflix's HR policy is 5 words long. Act in Netflix's best interest. This is the entire HR policy. This is HR policy and organizational culture designed from a basis of trust. This kind of approach unleashes creativity and loyalty and productivity. People feel seen, respected, valued, and they stay. We know that there are new technologies that track workers' keystrokes and monitor their facial expressions. These things are signals of mistrust that destroy organizational culture.
That's our flux mindset when it comes to trust, right? When it comes to trust, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to being creative. How many of you can see yourself? And I want you to go and do some research on her. I could spend all day on her. I love the mindset, the thought about being and having a flux mindset. One of those superpowers that she mentioned, it talks about letting go. And we're accustomed to hearing about letting go of the future, of the past. But what she says is letting go of the future. I love it so much, especially when talking to us, because we're so set in things that we've been taught to do when it comes to going to school, getting a good education, performing at a high level at work, getting a good job, and then retiring. How many of us know that that doesn't work? You can perform well and still not be compensated or feel valued for what you do. So, one of those superpowers of having a flux mindset is letting go of the future. And so, when we talked earlier, we talked about changing our mindset around things, because some of the things I'm going to share with you coming up, you have to have a different mindset in order to embrace it. Now, it's going to take time. Everything takes time. But if we don't do these things, as you will hear, especially for us, you all, we will be behind the 8 ball. So I encourage you, again, always check me out. Anything I'm presenting, go check her out. Tap in. Let's keep going. All right, let's look at some insights now. So we're going to look at 3. Again, I could have spent all day right here, but in the essence of time, we'll talk about 3. The first is component labor. Now, this may be a new term to you, but let me describe what that is. Traditionally, many corporate roles have been structured around the concept of component labor. This term refers to positions where tasks and responsibilities are clearly defined and standardized, making the roles interchangeable. I want you all to think about, let me find my phone. Component labor is exactly what it says. Think about your phone. You see my phone here? There's components to this phone. There's the camera, there's the screen for, well, I guess with my iPhone, there's the SIM card or whatever the thing is that goes in here. There's different components to it, right? The same holds true for labor. So when companies, when they're thinking about having, hiring people or just people in general at work, it's labor that's in a compartment or in a component, I'll say. So think about your positions in accounting, project management, administrative tasks where routines and procedures dominate. So just like the phone, I can replace this camera with a new updated camera, right? I can replace the lens. Maybe it's bigger, it's wider, it's longer. So component labor is the same thing. It's interchangeable. I could have one administrative assistant and I can replace that person with another one, a new and improved one, a bigger camera, a wider screen. So now this phrase has been talked about a lot, and it came up during the World Economic Forum where they're discussing component labor. So I want you to think about your skills, what you do, what your title is. And I know in one of our sessions on YouTube, there's a site that we went to. You can go back and look at the video where you can put in your title and it'll tell you what percentage of your skills has the possibility of being automated or will be automated. Again, we talk about being prepared. You want to think about, I know everybody's heard about AI and jobs being eliminated. It's not enough to hear about it. You have to know where you are. You have to position yourself in the marketplace so that you attract opportunities to you based on what you do and how you leverage the skills and knowledge and experience that you have. Now, for midlife corporate professionals, the rise of AI in component labor is not a signal of the end, but it is a call to evolve. This is what I want to get across to you. This is a clarion call today to evolve. I don't want to talk about the doom and gloom. That's not why I'm here. You got enough of that, right? It's all over the news. Everybody's talking about that. But the reason why I wanted this specifically for us is because what I saw during the pandemic, what I saw when I was in corporate, and the professionals that I work with now. Some people haven't touched their resumes. Some people don't even have a LinkedIn profile. We are in a digital age. Now, you may say, you know what? That's not for me. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to be a consultant. I'm going to start my own knowledge practice. Guess what? You still have to have a digital presence. So today is about waking you up and bringing to your awareness the criticalness of this. All right. So we don't want to be lumped in the group where It's labeled component labor. So I want you to really put some thought up behind this. I want you to write this phrase down. I want you to go to the YouTube channel, find that video, put your title in that on that website and see what percentage of your skills, I think we did it over a year ago, so it may have increased by now, will be automated. Let's keep going. So we talked about, let me go back. We talked about component labor, digital versus dirt. Now there's another saying where they talk about cloud versus dirt, and I wanted to change it up a little bit. And here's how I want you to think about this. This is where we talk about having a geographical presence, right? And so let me read the definitions first. So when it comes to the dirt economy, this is traditional economy where work is tied to a specific physical location and often involves direct hands-on involvement or presence. How many of you, maybe 10, 7 years ago, some right now, when you were looking for work, you thought about location, right? How far do I have to drive? Is it close to where I work? And even on the flip side, on my side in HR and in talent acquisition, we would look to see who was in our backyard first before we went outside of where we are currently. So if I'm in Atlanta and I'm recruiting for someone, we looked on the application to see where they lived. Right? How many of you did that? The first thing you thought about was the commute. I used to tell a story all the time about how I worked 8 minutes from home because that was a big thing. It was a big deal being close. It was close to my daughter's school, close to where I lived. But we're in a different economy now, the digital economy, this dirt economy. You see, it says it's traditional. This is where we were. So we want to broaden our thought process around the work we do and go even broader and think more geographically and think globally. Think about that person in Australia that might need what you do. But if you don't have what we're going to go to next, that digital presence, can they find you? For many professionals over 50, the dirt economy represents stability and familiarity. Remember, we talked about that mindset, that fixed mindset. Because when you have that fixed mindset, you think about, you know what? I'm stable. I'm not moving. I don't want to change my 401k. I'm going to stay here with this company because I'm just going to retire here. We don't know what happened. 2020 should have taught us that. But I speak to professionals every single day that think that, you know what? I need certainty. I need stability. It's not here anymore. I'm here to tell you, and I'm sorry to break the news. So the clarion call today is to be prepared, to stay prepared so you don't have to get prepared. Put things in your career toolkit so that when you need that resume that's updated, that's modernized, that's structured, that's formatted, it doesn't read like a bunch of fluff. It tells a story. It doesn't give a career history. It's not about what you want on it, but what the decision maker, the stakeholder, the hiring manager, the recruiter needs to see. It shows the value that you add. Some of us still have that dirt economy mindset. We have to get out of that dirt economy mindset and go into the digital age. If you're not there, I'm happy to work with you on that. If that's something that you want to do, you can always schedule time with me, like I mentioned earlier. Now, this is the traditional business models. Also, companies have to change as well. The hierarchical structures. Face-to-face interactions are well understood and comfortable. These are comfortable. Let's look at the digital age. So in the digital economy, there's a fundamental shift in the work landscape. This is a realm where work transcends physical boundaries. Y'all see that? Work transcends physical boundaries. People talk about, I want to work remote. I want to telecommute. I want to be at home. I just want to work remote. If you're not even leveraging that, if you're not sharing that, hey, I work with distributed teams, as it says here. We have teams now that are geographically spaced out. Some of you work with people that are in the UK and in New York, and you live in Ohio. But are you conveying that in all of your professional documents, your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolio, your website, your cover letter? Are you sharing that? Hey, I know how to do this job no matter where I am. Or are you just going about routinely? You have professional opportunities that are specific to what you do all over the world. And if you tap in and leverage this, you can be creative, innovative, and specialize in what you do. Is what I mean by creating what you want. Y'all with me? All right, let's take a look at the last one, the demographic challenge. And this is talking about us. This is talking about us now. While an aging workforce, it presents a challenge to policymakers and employers because they're thinking about Social Security, right? They're thinking about pensions. They're thinking about retirement. They're thinking about all this money they have to spend. There's a few positive trends that may help counter some of the negative effects of graying demographics. Since 2001, working lives have become longer in Europe. And I know a lot of the people in our community, we already know this. We talk about this all the time. A similar trend is taking place in Asia, where retirement ages are shifting in China, South Korea, and Japan. Encouraging and incentivizing older workers to put off retirement may be key to minimizing talent scarcity. Now, I want you to look at those two words, talent scarcity. It's happening everywhere. Do not believe the hype that there are no jobs. There's no opportunities for you to advance and elevate in your career, whether you're working or if you're working and searching for external opportunities. They're out there. The key, you all, is specialized. Specialized, because remember, they can get people from anywhere in the world. Why you? Companies with a higher concentration of older workers across all skill levels also risk losing more intellectual property and leadership, which can have serious consequences on performance and succession planning. Furthermore, for those operating in markets with employer-sponsored healthcare, higher associated costs could also affect profitability. So what this is saying, for those companies that have a higher concentration of older workers across all skill levels, they're going to lose a lot of their knowledge. That's what IP is. That's what intellectual property is. They're going to lose a lot of that when they do leave and when they do retire. And a lot of the older generation, they're in leadership positions. They're going to lose all of that. And that's serious consequences. So these are some of the opportunities that I'm talking about when I share with you, don't believe the hype. This year, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of baby boomers retiring. The oldest is 68, the youngest is 60. And they're leaving these gaps. That's why it says talent scarcity. There's these holes that need to be filled, but they're looking for people with the talent, specialized talent, to fill these roles. This could be right in the place that you're working for now, and you may not know about it. When they talk about the hidden job market, let me look at y'all. When they talk about the hidden job market, it's not a secret place that people go to. It's the jobs they're not telling you about. It's just like if you got a girlfriend or boyfriend and you didn't tell your friend, they say, why you keeping it secret? It ain't a secret. I just didn't tell you. Right? But if they know what you do, if you have that presence, if you're adding value, if you're contributing at a high level, if you're one of those high potential employees, and you're specialized in what you do, and you know how to communicate that on paper, on your LinkedIn profile, in a portfolio, on a website, in a cover letter, introduce yourself. Whether you're using that through a message on LinkedIn. We use cover letters when we used to mail them back in the day, but now you can take that messaging and you can put it into a message on LinkedIn. If Timothy connects to D and Timothy said, hey, D, I see Elena in your network. Would you mind, doing a soft introduction? Well, they're gonna say, well, I don't know you like that. Let me check you out. They're gonna go to Timothy's profile. Is it updated or is it outdated? And that's what I mean. Some of us have let it go and just left it at the wayside. You can attract opportunities, but you have to be able to sell what you do and how you do it. There's thousands of recruiters. There's thousands. Why should y'all listen to me? Who am I? There's thousands. But I know my experience and I know what's unique to me. And I know I can talk about consulting. I know I can talk to my demographic. I know I can talk about various industries that I worked in. I know I can talk about being a liaison between a candidate and a hiring manager. I know I can hire at all levels from C-suite down to individual contributors. I can talk the talk. When you're working with somebody else, a recruiter, can they talk the talk? Are they 23 trying to talk to a 54-year-old and tell them how to structure their resume? You have to take control of your assets. Your LinkedIn, your resume, your website, your portfolio, your cover letter. Those are your employees. You're the CEO of you. These should be working for you. They should be out in the market attracting those opportunities to you. Because you paid the price already. They should be working for you. These are your assets. This is your intellectual property. This is unique to you. It's specific to you. These are your employees. Put them to work. Put them to work. We're in a digital age. Put them out there. Put them out there. All right, let's move on. Y'all with me? Again, if you need assistance with that, Casey just dropped my calendar. You can schedule some time. We'll come up with a strategic career plan specific to you. Everybody's at a different stage, at a different phase in life, so it's different for everybody. But you want to know, is there demand in the market for what I do or for what I want to do? You want to ensure that your documents are structured in a way that it communicates your value. Right? And then what we do is we take the weight off of you. I know what it's like to have a family and work and take care of yourself. We take that weight off of you. We want to hold the burden. We help you with the interviews. So if you need that, go ahead and schedule time. Let's move on. All right, so we looked at insights. Let's go ahead and look at some trends. So as we talk about trends, I want you to listen to this and then we'll talk about it, okay?
This morning in our Consumer Confidential, we are looking into the future. Actually, we're not. LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is out with its annual list of big ideas. It's their predictions for what to expect in the workplace and job climate in the new year. And here to walk us through it, one of our favorite guests, editor-in-chief at LinkedIn, Mr. Dan Roth. How are you, sir?
Good morning.
Doing great.
So, other than looking into a magic crystal ball, how did LinkedIn go about coming up with this year's list?
We ask our community, every year we do this, we ask the community what are the big trends, topics they expect to see in 2024 in their areas. And it's always super interesting. We check back to make sure we actually do a good job. So last year, 2023, 61% of our predictions ended up being true.
Wow.
So that's good, even though it was a crazy, crazy year.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for even better in 2024.
That's awesome.
You could do weather. Let's start before the job market in college.
Yeah.
In LinkedIn, you guys are saying, forget about saving up for college. What do you mean?
Yeah, we think 2024 is the year that people stop saving for college. Basically, this is going to be there is a break that happens where people just say, I'm not going to college. It goes from being a sure thing, you're a high school student, you go to college, to saying it's an individual choice. 40 million Americans are starting to pay for their student loan payments again. It now takes 15 years for the average bachelor degree holder to see financial gain on their degree. And it's just a question of, is it worth it? And employers are making this easy. Something like almost 20% now of all the job listings don't require a college degree on LinkedIn.
Wow.
That's up from 15% 2 years ago. So this is moving up really fast. And so the question is, like, if the employers aren't asking for it, and if it costs so much, why am I doing
What's
it?
the point?
Wow.
This year's a breaking year.
And it's interesting that employers.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I know.
That's perfect.
I think another thing, if you do go to college, they're embracing the culture right now, this creator economy, and they're actually designing classes geared towards that.
Yeah, so this is like following the money and following the demand of the students who are going to college. The creator economy is supposed to be $500 billion by 2027. 54% of young people are saying they want to be a creator when they grow up.
What does that mean? What
You
does
know,
that look like?
It used to be like, oh, I want to be Mike. Now it's, I want to be like Mr. Beast. You want to be a YouTube creator, have your own show. And so they're starting classes. We're going to see tons of classes open up next year. USC is already doing this at their J school. They have an influencer relations course that is about how to be great in front of camera, how to deal with contracts, how to sell yourself. All of this becomes standardized.
Dollars doing it.
You can do
If I'm
really
dropping
well.
120 grand on a college degree for my son, and I find him in like an influencer class,
Yeah.
we're gonna have some problems.
He's going to say, "Here's my millions of dollars, Dad."
Well, that's the thing.
It
These
pays off. This
they
is it. This is it.
monetize being an influencer.
I mean, it pays off for like 2 or 3 of them, but what about the other like 95%?
Grandpa Craig
Yeah,
comes to play.
I'm just saying anyway. Dan's like, I didn't sign up for this.
No, this one is a really interesting trend. Job applicants getting paid for their time before they even start working.
Yeah, so this one is very controversial. We're seeing this outside the US right now where companies are saying, if you're going to come and interview with us, we will pay you to do it. $85, $150 in some places. In the US, it's starting to happen around the second interview. So you come in, we like you, now we need you to do some work. Maybe a lot of places are like, we want you to take a test or maybe write something up for
they
us.
compensate you
And
for
we'll
your time.
pay you to do this. So there's a
okay.
PR agency that's doing this right now, Small Girls PR. They're like, we want you to pitch us on something. We're going to ask you to do work. We will pay you to go and do this work. That is going to become more common next
Every
year.
time we bring Dan Roth in, I feel like we got into the job
Me
market
too.
like a few years too early. We should have waited.
It's better. It's better right now.
Remote work, of course, obviously, since the pandemic, it's become wildly popular with lots of folks.
Yeah.
But you maintain, or LinkedIn maintains, this year we're going to see something called backdoor remote work.
Yeah, so I've been coming on your show now and saying remote jobs are dead.
Yeah.
We have seen the numbers fall off. In March of 2022, over 20% of jobs were remote jobs on LinkedIn. It is now down to 9.5%.
Wow.
But next year is the year I eat those words because backdoor remote jobs are coming in, which is companies saying, we like you. I know we told you this was an on-site job, but you're so good and you don't have to relocate if you don't want to, and we're going to make this a remote job. And so the takeaway here is these employers have found that there is talent everywhere, not just in their cities, and they are going to start
That's
making
interesting.
exceptions. Yep.
Really?
So
Very
the story here is that if you see a job you like and it doesn't say remote, still apply for it, and then if you're good, just
Maybe
insist.
they'll work with
There you go.
Exactly.
Tips. Dan
Really
Roth.
good.
Thanks so much,
you.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
What we think, y'all. What we think. What we think. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. The first one, he said college. What we think about that? I know people that have a strong stance when it comes to college, right? And going back to college. And I hear all the time, I have to go get this degree, and I'm thinking about getting an advanced degree, and I need to get this certification. And what he just shared with you, what do you think about that? Elena said backdoor remote jobs. Okay. She like, okay. You like that? You like that? I love it. I love it. What do we think about that? So they're saying, right? A lot of companies now are adopting the practice that, okay, maybe you don't need a degree. Let me see your skills. We talk about that, right? We talk about that a lot. That if we have the skills to do the job and maybe you don't have the degree. Clifford said for college, it depends on the field. That's true, because I want my doctor to have a degree. That's very true. I want my dentist to have a degree. So I'm with you on that. For the most part, though, there's over 1 billion people on LinkedIn. And what they're saying, though, the numbers are showing, numbers don't lie. A lot of companies are saying, you know what? Let me see what you got. Let me see the skills. And, you don't necessarily have to have a degree, right? Eddie said that's why a lot of talented people are not going into the medical field. True. That's a shame. That's a shame. And listen, Eddie, the thing is they can make more money probably doing something else. I know a doctor making 40K. She's not happy. She's not happy. The other thing they talked about was this was a breaking year. Did y'all hear him say that? This is a breaking year around job applicants. Now, I know of people that have gone to an interview and they were given an exercise or they were given something to do some homework, and it's to help the company. And they do all this work with anticipation of getting the job and maybe don't get the job, but yet the company keeps their work. I like the policy or whatever it is that they will pay people for that, because I don't think that's fair. I have a staffing agency, and on that side, I had someone interview. I had 3 people interview, and they did a lot of work. They practice and practice and practice. And the company and my client, they turned all 3 of them down, but kept all of their hard work. And I felt horrible. But I think people should get paid. What do y'all think about that? Oh, you saw this, Letha? It is insightful. Yeah, Clifford said would that's a lot of Eddie said that's why a lot of, okay. Clifford said would be concerned if someone is wanting to be an accountant would prefer a degree to right. There are some roles, of course, you would want. I would want, my doctor to have a degree. Derek said, I've seen it in practice. However, some of the older professionals only want to acknowledge you based on your degrees. Yeah, some of them do. That's true. Some of them do. Some of them do want that. Timothy said, how many of us have degrees that do not relate directly to some of our careers? A lot, Timothy. You have to question if the time, effort, and money associated with college degree is truly worth the cost of that degree. Bingo. That's it in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell. And even those go back, because I talk to people that say, I'm going to go back and get my advanced degree. And even with data, even with market that, we show them the data and we say, here's what the market is saying for this role. It won't be around in 2028. You got 4 years, right? Some of the skills for that role will be automated. So you want to put some thought behind it. I think, again, it's the mindset of we're so accustomed to, let me go get more education. Let me go get more letters behind my name. And this will elevate me to where I want to go, or this will get me the compensation. You just heard them say that as long as you have, they're looking globally for people. As long as you have the skills and you're specialized in an area, that's why I call this career mastery, because at our age, my daughter say my big age, at our age, we should be masters at what we do. To be a master at something is 10,000 hours. That's about a decade. All of us should have that. If you got 10,000 hours, you should be a master at something. If you hopped around and you didn't stay in one industry or one career, then of course, that's not mastery. There will be looking for those when they say specialized. That's what that means, being a master in something. If you've been doing it for a decade, that's one of the criteria for working with us at Expert Edge. That's the only way we know we can help you. Right? You're concentrated in an area, and maybe you don't have that resume structured the way that it should be to tell a story. It just gives history lesson. Maybe you're not showcasing all of your achievements and successes online on your LinkedIn profile, and you weren't aware of that. So being a master and specialize in a certain area, you notice your primary care physician may refer you to, a chiropractor or someone that specializes in something. Who gets paid the most, the primary care or the person that specializes in something? Which one? Does the OBGYN or does the chiropractor or does the podiatrist or does the orthopedic person, who gets paid the most? It's the one that specializes in something. So if this is a transitional year for you, if you're thinking about a pivot or transition, I really want you to think about what you already know, the knowledge you already have. We're so accustomed to running and getting more and getting more. And remember, we talked about doing. I got to get more. I got to get more. I got to go get this and I got to go get this and I got to go get this. And then I'll be ready. And then when you jump out there to try to attain it, they want experience. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to get experience if you won't give me an opportunity? Take what you know, leverage that, utilize that. There you go, Darlene. There you go. There you go. Okay, Elena. All right. I'll see you there, hun. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going, you all. Now let's look at what we look at. Let's look at the red flags and we'll wrap up. I'll take questions if you have any, okay? These are some of the things. Again, I got a ton of stuff, but I wanted you all to know and be aware of some of the changes that are happening. In 2024, the projected increase in health benefit costs is 6.6% before plan changes and 5.4% after plan changes. So listen to me clearly, you all. I know for some that are currently working, performance reviews are coming up. If you get a 4%, if you get a 3%, a 2%, a 5%, a 7%, they're not going to say that, coming up in October, November during open enrollment, there will be an increase. They're not going to tell you this. I need you to do the math. That's why now is the time. If you're currently working and you know that you're up for performance review, or you've been thinking about if you're consulting currently, And by the way, as a side note, if that's something that you're seeking to go into in 2024, because that's the majority of what my career was, I also help you with starting your own consulting practice or knowledge practice. And if you're interested in that, you can also schedule some time with me. But I want you to do the math. I want you to take, okay, I know, and you can do the research. Go ahead and this is on Mercer's website. Do your own research. Look at the percentage. If your premium is based off of family or individual or what have you, you do the math and you determine what you're going to need, not what they give you, and you try to make it work. I want you to take control of your career. You're the CEO of you. You're the CEO of you. Do the math, do your budgeting, and say, you know what? I'm going to need for them to give me at least 8% this year, because I know, and if inflation hits us again this year, then what? Even if it's 3%, it's already high. But on top of healthcare costs, because of us and our age, we all need healthcare. We all think about healthcare. I know we do. So I wanted to bring this to your awareness, because you don't hear this all over the place. Go and do the research, do the math. Factor this in. And if you need to make more money, you need to think about that. How can I leverage what I know now? Kelly keep talking about use what I have, use what I have. I really don't want to go back to school. I really don't want to, go into another whole new career of doing something where I have to learn and there's a learning curve. I do have knowledge. I haven't been around this long and I don't know anything. I have something. I know something. How can I leverage it to the best of my ability? Health benefit costs growth of 5.4% after more than a decade of annual cost increases typically average 3 to 4%. Suggests that last year's high inflation and labor shortages in healthcare industry have pushed healthcare costs higher, contributing to higher health benefit costs. I want you to be mindful of this, you all. Let's look at monitoring. I think we talked a little bit about this. Now they're letting people go, right? Approximately, this is how many employees have been fired because of data gathered from monitoring software. You may or may not know, but you may sign something. If you're signing an offer letter, if you're going through compliance training this year, you know how you have to go through compliance training and you just sign off and you just speed through the videos and all the things. I want you to slow down. Are they looking at you through your monitor? Everybody got AI now. Are they calculating how long you're on a website? I know you're the VP of sales. I know you're the director of marketing. And you don't think it could touch you? This right here. In a survey, 3 in 4 companies have fired employees because of monitoring. 73% of respondents say their company has let workers go because of data gathered from the monitoring software. Of this group, the largest percentage, 34, say 6 to 10 workers have been fired for this reason. However, a surprisingly high percentage say they require remote employees to be on camera all day. Of this group, 93% say the live video feed is monitored, with the majority reporting that the person or people watching the feeds do so for 4 or more hours a day. So somebody's watching you for 4 hours a day. All right, I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to leave that right there. I'll go on a tangent. Let's look at freelance. I talked about the majority of my career being in freelancing, right? And I know there is a YouTube video on this as well on my channel. Growing emphasis on flexible contracts and ongoing part-time engagements without a specific end date or detailed scope. This allows employers and talent to adapt to changing needs and priorities, fostering a more agile and fast-moving work environment. Now, I wanted to share with you all several of the types of flexible freelance contracts, okay? There's a fixed rate freelance contract. This is where you say, you know what, I work on this project for $1,500, right? Once you understand the scope and the details of it, that's the fixed rate. Statement of work, they'll give you a statement of the work that needs to be done, and you create a statement of work that both of you all sign. Pay as you go. Maybe I have my video editor. I pay him as he goes. So if I do a video, I pay him a certain amount. Pay as you go. In general contract framework, this is a MSA. This is what I do on my staffing agency when I partner with a client, right? They sign it. We both sign an MSA agreements. Okay. So this is something that you all can take a screenshot of or write this down. If you're thinking about 2024 being a year of transition for you, and you want to do something different. You want to pivot. You want to transition. All right. Now, we talk a lot more in our community on our YouTube channel about a lot of different things that we do. I wanted to share this with you all, the beginning of 2024. Let me know if biggest takeaway, was there something of value that you learned or you saw or brought to your awareness? Let me know I didn't waste your time. Let me know. Let me know. Chris Mosley said, this is my field and these stats are accurate. There you go. I wouldn't lie to you. So I just wanted to give you a little bit, right? As we go into 2024, I know some of you are thinking you're serious about a pivot or a transition. This year is an inflection point. There's a lot happening. There's a what's it called? Presidential race this year. As a matter of fact, there's 63 across the globe. That hasn't happened in a long time. There's a lot of things that will be changing. The guy from LinkedIn, editor-in-chief, he just said, this year is a transitional year. If you needed a sign, this is your sign. If you're thinking of pivoting and transitioning, if you're currently working for an employer, you're not feeling value, you know that you're not making enough money, you know that your documents aren't updated, it's not showcasing your achievements and your values. I want you to schedule some time with me. Let's come up with a strategic career plan so that we can get you out there in the marketplace to ensure that there's demand for the future. A lot of us are taking care of elderly parents. Some of us are taking care of grandkids, right? They're depending on us. And so we have to have the resources in order to take care of ourselves and our families. And like I said, we spend most of our time at work. We should be getting compensated for that. The last thing I'll say, and I'll take questions if you have it, is, I could have easily did a whole AI thing and talked about everything that's coming. There's a lot coming that hasn't even been shared unless you deep in it like I am. You probably don't want to know, right? And it's scary. It's scary. And again, my calling, and I know that for a fact, is to bring awareness to certain things, specifically to people that are my age and above. And it's to ring the bell about being prepared. 2020 just gave all of us a glimpse of that. And it gave me a glimpse of how unprepared we are as a demographic. And if you don't ever see me again, for some of you, I want you to just pause. It's okay to pause. We're moving so fast. Today, a lot of people are off. Take the time to think about your career. Last year, I took about 4 months off, and I was trying to figure out, do I really want to do this? Is this what I want to do? Like, what do I want to, what type of impact do I want? What do I want to do? And I know we've had that thought. And I'm thinking about my life and how many summers and all of that. Like, we ain't that old, right? We're not that old. But we think about, okay, how we want this thing to look, right? And I want to challenge you to pause, if you can today, to really give some thought about it. Even when you get off, I know you get on webinars and you get on people's lives and things, and you take your notes and then you go on about your business. I'm challenging you to just let this marinate for a little bit. Just some of the things, whatever clicked with you. Sean said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, just capitalize on what we already have. That's what Sean had a takeaway. Loretta said, very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. Informative and concise. You're welcome, Derek. Marna said, yes, my last job was monitored internally. I worked in leadership. It was not. There you are. I know some of you think, well, it's not going to be for me. It's just for people that, Marna telling you right there. And I talked to Marna. She is in leadership. You may not be aware, y'all. And I'm one of them people, I'll talk about me because I know y'all won't talk about yourself, but I thought, since I've been in TA and recruiting all these years that, I had this, I'll say arrogance of like, ain't nobody's, I know recruiting, I can do it with my eyes closed, I can do it. But what I did was shut myself off from opportunities because I didn't open my mind and unlearn some things about the possibilities that were out there. And I know we get stuck with our titles and we think, some of us may think, we all that, and I don't need to learn anything. And I'm telling you, there's opportunities that you haven't thought of, because the opportunities that I've had, I would have never thought of for myself, ever, ever. And so what I'm sharing with you today is to unlearn some things. Get a digital presence. It's okay. I know you're an introvert. I know you private. I know you don't want people to know. Put out there what you do and how good you are at what you do. Let things come to you. Stop trying to fit into a job description or fit into what your boss said you should be doing, or go to work and be unhappy and unmotivated, or keep throwing spaghetti at that job board. Let me see, because I'm getting in desperation mode and it's going to be the end of the month. I got to pay mortgage. I got to pay rent. I got to get something. I'll take anything. I'll drive this bus. I'll do this. You're better than that. You're better than that. You know it, because you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be on this, not on your day off. You wouldn't be here. I know you better than that. And you may just need some guidance. You may need someone that's on the outside looking in at what you do. The thousands of people, and some of them are on here that I've talked to, once I talk with them and they share with me, I'm like, have you ever thought about, I never thought about that. And it's just opening up your eyes and exposing yourself to different opportunities. Because some of you think there's nothing else for me to do. I've applied. I've seen all the headlines and people on Twitter. I've applied for 500 positions that I haven't got. I've applied for 400 I haven't got. That's just tell me you're applying for any and everything. That's what that says to me. But what do I know? What do I know? You're welcome, Paula. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Michelle. Hey, you feel inspired? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, I did my job. God's going to be happy. Darlene said, that is me you're talking about. Real talk. I love you, Darlene. I like y'all being real. I like y'all being real. I hope this was helpful. Any questions? I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will share that another reason why I wanted to do this, because, I'm in I hear conversations. I won't say I'm in them. But my pay grade, some of the conversations. But y'all remember, how do I say, 10,000 years ago, hopefully this makes sense. Some of you, hopefully you'll hear what I'm saying. 10,000 years ago, there were kings and queens up here, and then there were peasants down here. 10,000 years ago, right? You know how on your phone, you can set your screen, like when you buy your phone. I just got another phone, right? Let me see. So on the iPhone, you got the regular screen, right? You got the regular screen. It just comes, right? This is default. This is the default screen. But I can go in and I can change and put me and my daughter on there, or I could put her dog on there. I could put, my nieces or nephews on here. I can change the default, but this is the default. When you buy the phone, that's the default. So 10,000 years ago, there were kings that were up here and queens that were up here, and they're peasants. That's been the default for 10,000 years. And then about 100 years ago, they decided, you know what, we need another structure. We need the middle class. Because some of our companies they still have this hierarchical structure. If you notice, there's those, and then there's those. There's those, and then there's those. So about 100 years ago, they created this other structure. It's called the middle class. And one of the reasons why I speak with you all, and the reason why I do things like this, because I know there's a lot of chatter. I know there's a lot of people that you can watch. I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of people with great information online. But I don't know if we hear some of the people. That structure of the middle class, this is what's happening. And y'all, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. These are one of the scary things that I hesitate to share, but I know if I don't say nothing, then I wonder if anybody is. And I hear a few people. And so while we're talking about, I can't do this because of racism or because of ageism or because they said I'm overqualified or my boss won't do this or my employer won't help me with professional development. And then what about classism? Because there's this and there's this. But we're so focused on they're discriminating against me. That ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we'll be. It's not going anywhere. Ageism will be there. There's people that's gonna think we too old. That's fine. We think some people too young. Racism, it ain't going anywhere. Y'all know that. It ain't going anywhere, y'all. So let's stop looking for these other things that's outside of our control. We got to deal with some stuff like right now, like urgently, like now. Because this is happening. I just read a stat about the brothers in here, the men. The stats are crazy of men that's not working. The stats are crazy of men that don't have degrees and they're not working. And they say it's going to get worse. And men are the head of the household. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But y'all, please. It's time to put the phones down. Because that's a whole nother conversation. Don't just worry about AI. They beyond that. They beyond that. They took a chess game and they gave it to an AI robot, and the AI robot didn't know how to play chess that morning. That afternoon, the best chess player in the world. In the world. Don't run around here watching these people on this and the dancing and the food and the things like that, and your life ain't together, and you can't buy food, and you're looking in your bank account and you're worried about this and this. Get what you need for you. Get what you need for you. Get what you need for you. I'm done. I promise. I'm done. All right, Nikita, I'm glad I gave you a lot of thought to think about. I'm glad. All right, y'all connecting with each other? Don't take each other for granted. Connect with each other. You never know who's in that person's network. Drop your LinkedIns, y'all. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You never know who's in the network. Connect with each other. It was helpful. Was this helpful, y'all? I love y'all. Come check us out over on YouTube. We get together and we have a good time. Don't we, Robin, Derek, LaShawn, Fabiola? We have a good time. You're welcome. Hopefully this was of value, y'all. Dee said, I'm trying to start my own professional development using AI. Do you think that would be effective? I'm trying to start my own professional. Absolutely. Robin's in here. She did a class on, what was it, Robin? What was it? Prompt engineer, Dee. She's doing her own professional development. And she shared with us last week that her boss is younger than her. And she said, oh my gosh, prompt engineering? So go for it, Dee. Absolutely. It would be effective. And I want you to put it on your LinkedIn, Dee. I want you to put it on your LinkedIn. Everything that you all are doing, if you don't know how to structure it, again, Casey dropped my calendar link. Go ahead and schedule some time. Let's create a career path. Now, I do know, one of the things that we do at my company, Expert Edge, is we work with those, like I said, that have 10 years or more experience in an industry, right? Somebody reached out to me that worked on a cruise ship. I've never worked on a cruise ship before. So I don't want to talk about something I don't know about, right? So if you have 10 or more years of experience, if you currently are working in a corporate environment, because that's the only environment I've worked in, and if you're working currently, we can leverage that experience that you have right now and structure it to tell a story. So make sure you schedule some time with me, and we can create a strategic career plan for you. Timothy said, don't stop telling the truth. It will set you free. There you go. Look at Robin. That's my girl. She's dropping a link for y'all. Kelly, you are always so inspirational, informative. Don't make me cry, Marna. Not in front of company. I always learn something when I tune in. Your hard work and research is preached. Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. All right, y'all. I'm going to let y'all enjoy y'all day. Nikita said, very helpful. Rhoda said, always on point. I love y'all. Have a great rest of your year. If I don't see you, come check us out on Tuesdays if you haven't. And y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye. Bye.